Hello everyone, Coasters and Places here. Welcome back to my channel, or just welcome if you are new here. I'm so glad you are here with me to watch this video. So I'm going to be counting down my top 20 roller coasters in the state of Texas. It's a pretty good state for roller coasters, and I've compiled a list of 20 that I think are the best. Remember, this is just an opinion-based list, and your opinion is likely to be different from mine. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's opinions are going to be different, but this is just my top 20, order them from 20 to 1, how I would rank them. And if you could, go ahead and give this video a like, and go ahead and give me a subscribe, and check out some other videos that I have. I have a lot of travel related content and a lot of general roller coaster related content for you to check out, and I really appreciate your support. It definitely helps. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with number 20. Number 20 at Six Flags Fiesta Texas is Roadrunner Express. So this is actually the last mine train that Aerodynamics ever built. It opened in 1997. So it reaches a height of 72 feet tall, 2,402 feet of track. So this is a family coaster. So this is not going to be super thrilling. It's not very extreme. It does have at least one good moment of airtime. It reaches 35 miles per hour at its top speed. And it's honestly one of the smoothest mine trains out there. Most of the mine trains I find to be rough, or at least jolty in a lot of places, and this one is not. So that makes me happy, because I'm not a super big fan of rough rides. So to have a smooth ride is great. And it does feel a little faster than what it actually is in spots. So you do get more of the thrill factor. So I think enthusiasts, people that like more of a thrill, are gonna like Roadrunner Express more than some of the mine trains out there. And it's definitely a ride that I do like to ride every time I go to Fiesta Texas. It has a good layout, and I like how it's by the quarry wall. And there's a couple very aggressive helixes that do add to the intensity that it does have. And it interacts with the train and also with Iron Rattler, how Iron Rattler does go above it. Overall, a good Aero mine train. It's just ranked low because it's just not that thrilling of a ride. Number 19 is Judge Roy's Scream, which is a wooden coaster at Six Flags Over Texas. So the basic stats: it opened in 1980, 71 feet tall, has a drop of 65 feet, it's about 2,670 feet long, and a top speed of 45 miles per hour. So it doesn't have the most impressive stats out there. And it's a little... Number 18 is Wavebreaker, the rescue coaster at SeaWorld San Antonio. So this is a family coaster, and it does what it's supposed to do well, which is be a fun family coaster. So with that being known, going into it, don't expect a huge thrill ride, because that's just not what Wavebreaker is. That's not what it was built to be. With that being said, the launches, they're pretty fun. It's a very smooth ride. Actually does go 44 miles an hour, so it isn't incredibly slow either. And the bends, the S-bends, have some surprising laterals with them. I like the motorbike seating. The layout's pretty good. But again, it's just a family coaster, so it's not anything crazy intense. I prefer more intense, more fun rides with more airtime, give me more thrill. So that's why I have it at 18. But it's just still not a bad ride at all. Number 17 and number 16 are pretty much going to be like twin coasters, but I had to put one before the other. I didn't really want to put any single coaster on this list at the same spot. So 17, I put Batman the Ride at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, the SNS 4D free spin located there. So this coaster, it's very short, it's barely over 1,000 feet long. It's 118 feet tall, only reaches 38 miles an hour, and it has where you can flip throughout the ride, aka free spin. So your ride's a little random. It can be where you flip a lot or some that you don't flip at all. So this one versus number 16, I flipped less than the one at 16. Is the only reason why I'm putting it at 17, but it's not really rough or uncomfortable or anything. It's very, very short, and your ride is never going to be the same, and if you don't get a lot of flipping, it's kind of honestly a boring ride. At number 16 is a coaster just like number 17, but this one's the Joker at Six Flags Over Texas. Same deal, SNS 4D free spin. Your ride's going to be highly dependent just basically on luck, sometimes on weight, distribution, but honestly for me, I feel like it's just been more on luck. I have had some better rides on this one than the one at Fiesta, so that's why I'm going to put this one just ahead of it. But again, it's just a short ride, a short coaster, and when you don't get a lot of flipping, it's just not that thrilling. But at least it's not really rough or anything. I just wish it was longer and maybe a more consistent ride experience would be better. Onto a ride that is a clone, but it's not cloned anywhere else in Texas at least. It's Poltergeist. This is a Premier Rides spaghetti bowl coaster using magnetic launch, LSM technology. So this ride is also indoors at Kings Dominion and Kings Island as Flight of Fair. I like it better indoors because then you can't really see where you're going or know what's coming up next. It does have a top speed of 60 miles an hour, 4 inversions, a little over 2,700 feet of track. And it has a really good layout in my opinion. However, it's getting rough nowadays, so it can be a little uncomfortable. It's actually given me a headache before. I'm not a huge fan of the trains either, but at least it's a lap bar, not an over-the-shoulder restraint. It's themed pretty good as well, and it's pretty intense. There is a spot in the midsection where it just kind of meanders around and doesn't really do a lot. But it would probably rank higher if maybe it was a little longer and it was smoother. Like it used to be better, but now it's just kind of gotten rough with age. It's not terrible where I can't ride it, but it's definitely there when you notice it. But yeah, 15, Poltergeist. Number 14 is Still Ill at SeaWorld San Antonio, and I feel bad actually putting this at 14. It just goes to show how many great coasters there actually really is in the state of Texas. So Still Ill is a very underrated hyper, or, well, it's not quite a hyper, but kind of like a hyper from Morgan that just doesn't get talked about. So it has a lot of airtime. That's the big thing. The lap bars are pretty comfortable and it allows for a lot of airtime. It's 151 feet tall, 3,701 feet long, 65 miles per hour is its speed. It's definitely a must ride at San Antonio. And I think it's just as good as the larger ones, Mamba and Steel Force, honestly, if not better. And this definitely shines in the front. In the back, I don't feel like it's as good, but in the front, it's definitely great. And occasionally the airtime can hurt in a couple spots, so I can't really put it super high on this list, but it's a solid ride. I like B&M Hypers better, but don't overlook this ride. Definitely ride it when you were at SeaWorld San Antonio. You won't be disappointed. Number 13, I have Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas. This may be a little bit of a controversial placement, but I really like this coaster. It's about 3,600 feet long. It has 2 inversions. It's 115 feet tall and reaches a top speed of 60 miles an hour. So, it is very intense. Like, oh my goodness, the intensity on this is great, and it really shines with that. And this is an old ride that's still pretty smooth to this day, which I think is wonderful. It's incredibly underrated. It has a powerful jolt of ejector on the drop. The loops cause a lot of people to gray out. Fortunately, I am not one of those people. I've never actually grayed or blacked out on a coaster, so yeah. After the second turnaround drop, there's a great sustained ejector moment, and it's lap bar only. So, and it has very extreme forces in both positive and negative. My only negative is that it kind of feels a little slow at times, but that's just a little bit of a nitpick. Maybe it could use another inversion or two. But other than that, I love this classic old Schwarzkopf, and I really hope it stays around for a while longer. Number 12, 11, 10 are also clones, but I wanted to rank them all separately instead of together. So number 12, I'm going to put Batman the Ride at Six Flags Over Texas. This is one of the famous Batman clones, which is what 11 and 10 are going to be as well. This one, very solid ride. All the Batman clones are. They're fun, intense, and they're just non-stop intensity, and it really doesn't let up until the ride is over. So this one though is a little rattly in a couple spots, more rattly than I've noticed some of the clones being. So that's kind of why I put it at 12th. However, the rattle is not anything super bad or where you can't ride it. Still absolutely fantastic ride from B&M. Number 11, the Batman clone, but this one's Great White at SeaWorld San Antonio. So it's going to be sea themed, being at SeaWorld. I find this one to be a little bit more smooth than the one at Over Texas, but with that same forceful intensity that you do expect from a B&M invert and a B&M Batman clone. And this one is a couple years older than the one at Over Texas. It's a little short, but it's intense, non-stop intensity, great pacing, and it's really whippy. You absolutely whip through that layout. I absolutely love this. It's definitely a must ride at SeaWorld San Antonio. Alright, number 10 is going to be the third and final Batman clone in Texas. It's Chupacabra at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This was recently repainted and themed, and I really like the new theming. You know, Chupacabra based on the legendary Chupacabra creature. And it is just like all the other Batman clones, is that it is snappy, whippy. You take those inversions at such high speed, and it's relentless all the way through. And this one's been moved around, and it's still pretty smooth. I don't really notice too much of a rattle. And again, the retheming, very nice. I like it. I think that is really better than just the Goliath that it used to be. But yeah, honestly, this one's pretty much on par with the original Batman clone. Nothing bad to say about it. These Batman clones are always a good time, and it's my number 10 pick in Texas. Number 9 is Titan at Six Flags Over Texas. This is a very polarizing coaster along with Goliath at Magic Mountain. So it's a Giovanola Hyper. Impressive stats, 5,312 feet long, 246 feet tall, goes 85 miles an hour. It is not rough at all, but there's basically no airtime, which I'm a big fan of airtime. I want some airtime on my ride, and riding a hypercoaster, you know, you hope to get some airtime. This thing, where'd the airtime go? That being said, it's still a smooth ride. You feel the speed on it. And oh my goodness, that upward helix before the mid-course brake run is crazy intense. But that mid-course brake run, you're like, stop, and it's pretty rough actually. But yeah, you get some pretty strong G's. And the first drop's actually pretty fun though, as well. So it's very intense, you know, the helix in particular, but it's just, I feel like the B&M Hypers are just so much better, have a better layout. If it had a better layout and had some more airtime, this would be a better coaster. But I still have it at number 9. I still do enjoy Titan. Number 8 is Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This is one of the newest dive coasters in the country, in the world really. So it has really good queue theming. They did really well in the pre-show. Awesome. But the ride itself does leave a little bit to desire. Now that first drop, the extra degree beyond vertical, that's excellent. But then it's only 148 feet tall. It's only 2,500 feet long, and you only have 2 inversions on it. Which granted, some of the earlier dive coasters had the 2 inversions on it too, but for a dive coaster that opened just 3 years ago, I'd expect a little bit more from it. But hey, it's still a B&M, it's still a dive coaster, and it does go 60 miles an hour. Highlights again that first drop. It's very intense, the beyond vertical. I do love that one. I know a lot of people do find a rattle with it. I don't think it's terrible compared to, say, Iron Menace at Dorney Park. Now that one definitely has more of a noticeable rattle that's, I think, hampers the ride experience. Dr. Diabolical's rattle doesn't really do that. I just wish that the layout had more to it, but still, I think this is a really good coaster. I have a lot of fun with this coaster. I love dive coasters. I know a lot of enthusiasts may not, but I do. So, Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger. Alright, so number 7, and man, I feel bad putting it this low because this is my favorite floorless coaster. But it is Superman Krypton Coaster, also at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. So this thing is very long. It's 4,026 feet long. It has a height of 167 feet, 6 inversions, and you reach a top speed of 70 miles an hour going through the course. Wow. So impressive stats, but how does it ride? Well, to me, equally as impressive. So I think it's smooth throughout. The inversions, I enjoy all of them. They're all very smooth. Especially, I like the giant loop. That one's probably my favorite inversion. The setting on the query wall, how it interacts with that, is very unique. That is just something that Fiesta Texas has with several of their coasters that you're not going to find at really any other park. You can't really see all of the first drop until you're on top of it. So first time you're riding, you may not realize it's that much, and then until you're on it, and then you're like, oh. This thing, I mean, it hauls, and I love the Superman that they put on top of the vertical loop. Just a little bit of extra theming, even though this ride doesn't really have any, but it does have that on top of the vertical loop. Just some smooth, old school B&M goodness. You know, I have nothing really to complain about. Again, love the inversions, love the setting, love the ride, and it's just hard to put this at 7 considering it is my favorite floorless, but floorless are not my favorite type of roller coasters though. And honestly, Texas has a lot of good coasters, and there are 6 coasters that I like better than this one. Alright, at number 6, I have Mr. Freeze at Six Flags Over Texas. So this coaster, oh my goodness, it's very intense, has a very punchy launch. You get 70 miles an hour, you get up to 217 feet tall, but it is short. It's only 1,300 feet long, and lately it's only been doing the forwards launch instead of the backwards train, which the backwards train, like when you'll do the one at Six Flags St. Louis, I think it's better to go backwards than it is forwards. That being said, it's smooth. Holy crap, incredible launch. It's just a little too slow, but the launch, top hat's intense, and the spikes very cool as well. I like Mr. Freeze. My only nitpick, why I couldn't put it higher, it's just a little short, and I do prefer how it goes backwards at St. Louis. Into my top 5, and I'm going to start it out with Texas Stingray at SeaWorld San Antonio. So, oh my goodness, I've always had a special spot for wooden coasters, and when I see new wooden coasters, I'm like, ooh, this is probably going to be a good one. And this one definitely is. Manufactured by GCI, opened in 2020. It is only 98 feet tall, but it does reach speeds of 55 miles an hour. And it's 3,379 feet long. It has some really great airtime, incredible pacing. It is smooth, and it's just a very, very fun ride to ride. You get kind of tossed side to side as well. The layout is phenomenal. It's just during the second half you can really tell the ride's kicking into gear. And the low to the ground high speed maneuvers leading to the finale, they're both thrilling and intense, and it's got a really strong finale out of some of the other wooden coasters I've rode, and just some of the other GCIs in general I have rode. The tunnel also adds a nice touch to this ride. I think it ranks up there with Mystic Timbers, honestly, and that can be considered one of the best, if not the best GCI. And I think this one ranks right up there with it. It blew my expectations away. I heard that it was good, but I didn't realize that it was going to be as good as it actually was. And every ride on this has been very consistent. Right in the back if you want more airtime, front for the views, but you can't go wrong either way with Texas Stingray. Number 4 is Boardwalk Bullet at Kemah Boardwalk, and this has incredible pacing, incredible airtime, incredible layout, incredible everything. It's very smooth. It's 95 feet tall, 3,235 feet long, 51 mile per hour top speed. And it's basically Gravity Group's take on a GCI Twister. It's an engineering marvel, and wow. The pacing's incredible. As I said, the ride never stops hauling. There's lots of head chopper effects to be had on this. There's a lot of airtime moments, but there's 2 airtime moments in particular that are awesome, quite frankly. After riding it, I was like, oh, where are we going? Where are we going? What bit of track? Where are we at in this layout? Because it's absolute madness. They were able to fit like so much coaster into the space that they did. And you get a little disoriented because you're just going so fast and through the crazy layout, but in the best type of crazy. It's non-stop action from start to finish. Literally the most insane boardwalk coaster that I can think of that I've ridden. Yeah, a lot of them, they're not as crazy or they're rough. This one has none of that. It has positive forces and laterals as well. It also holds the record for the most track crossovers. That's how you get those head chopper effects. Again, they crammed this into a pretty small plot, but it is still a decent sized length coaster. Absolutely recommend this. It's definitely my 4th favorite coaster in the state of Texas. My 3rd favorite coaster in Texas is Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, the world's first single rail coaster from RMC. This thing is crazy. The only con, it's a little short. It has 3 inversions, 115 feet tall, 52 miles an hour, and it's a blast. It's super intense. It maintains that intensity throughout the whole ride. The injector is insane in the front. You get a lot of injector air time, and it's just an incredible coaster. Just honestly, my only gripe about it is that it's too short. But other than that, it is so whippy and snappy and intense, you just can't help but ride it again. And if you couldn't guess it, number 2 is going to be New Texas Giant at Six Flags Over Texas. This was the very first RMC conversion. And with that being said, got to give RMC a little grace because this was the first one. It doesn't have any inversions. However, it's 4,200 feet long, it's 154 feet tall, and it packs a good speed of 65 miles per hour. It's very powerful. That drop is so intense starting off, and the ride just has powerful ejectors throughout, and it's long. Like, there's newer RMCs that aren't even close to this length, like Goliath, Great Adventure. Great America. Like, I like you, Goliath, but you're short. And you were ground up. So, the tunnels were also seem to never be lit when I ride this. I just think that adds to the experience. And this has the Gerstlauer trains, which can be arguably better than RMC's own trains. But it's fairly underrated. It's not the worst RMC. We're just used to going upside down with RMCs. And it's still a great ride full of airtime. It slows down just a little bit towards the end. But that's my only nitpick with it. It's still an incredible ride. Good layout. It hits hard. You will not be disappointed in this. For a first coaster, I think RMC did absolutely amazing. My favorite coaster in all of Texas is none other than Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Well, let me tell you, this thing is crazy. It has stats of 180 feet tall, 70 miles per hour. It only has 1 inversion though, but it's 3,268 feet long. It's non-stop action from start to beginning, from start to end, beginning to end. I love the drop off the quarry wall and how it interacts with the quarry wall, uses that terrain to its advantage. And this is, of course, RMC iBox Track, a conversion from the old Rattler coaster, which was not very popular. Definitely not that great. So it's got speed, it's got intensity, and it does have the Gerstlauer lap bars, which people are saying are better than the RMC ones. I tend to agree, but I do understand why they have their own now. I don't find any dead spots with it. I think it's relentless. Both of the drops give amazing ejector, and oh my goodness, I love the 0G roll that Iron Rattler has. Only thing is, I wish it was just a little bit longer. That would be great. But still, it's an absolutely incredible coaster. Very smooth, intense. Riding in the back road, get extra ejector. Riding in the front for the views. This is definitely a coaster that, even though it is, gosh, 12 years old at this point, it still rides like it's new, to me, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, with that being said, that's my favorite coaster in Texas. What is your favorite coaster in Texas? Do you agree with me? Disagree? Let me know down in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching this video. Coasters and Places. See you in the next video.